Hello and welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Joke Rogers. Coming up on the program, the youth wing of the People's Democratic Party gives party leaders a 45-day ultimatum to reconcile aggrieved members. Religious leaders from Nigeria's North Central region want protection of holy sites and worship centers across the country. And the Nigerian Air Force medical team treats over 1,000 IDPs in Gwoza Camp, Maiduguri, Borno State. Welcome to the program. The venue of the emergency meeting of the People's Democratic Party convened by the Ahmed Makafi group has been barricaded by the police. Members of the group who had gathered for the meeting earlier today were forced to relocate to the Ekiti State Government Lodge. The meeting had been scheduled to hold at the International Conference Center in Abuja following an appeal court judgment declaring Senator Ali Modu Sheriff as the national chairman of the PDP. Meanwhile, the party's youth wing has given the leaders 45 days to reconcile aggrieved members. The group is also asking political gladiators in the crisis to work out the modalities for a national convention. The group's spokesperson, Mrs. Obianuju Ugoko, told journalists in Abuja today that failure to comply with the ultimatum will make them withdraw their support from the party. Legal practitioner Ebun Oluwadegboruwa has withdrawn the court case he filed against the confirmation of Mr. Ibrahim Magoo as the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC. At the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos today, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Tayo Yetibo, who appeared for Mr. Adegboruwa, told Presiding Judge Justice Mojisola Olatoregun that he had persuaded his client to drop the case in order to encourage Mr. Magoo in the anti-corruption campaign. He also says there's a need to give Mr. Magoo the opportunity to continue the anti-corruption campaign of the present administration, and since the case may affect his confirmation, it was better to discontinue it. Mr. Adegboruwa, who was present in court, confirmed the withdrawal. He told the court that he was well persuaded by his counsel that Mr. Magoo will do a good job to be more friendly to the rule of law, to be holistic in his approach to the anti-corruption drive of the Buhari administration. Religious leaders from Nigeria's North Central region are calling for an implementation of the Universal Code of Conduct on the protection of holy sites. At a meeting in Jos, the Plateau State capital, Christian and Muslim leaders suggest that there should be more enlightenment on religious tolerance and protection of worship centers.
A major religious violence which ended with massive destruction of homes and religious centers, a situation which is almost becoming a frequent feature in northern Nigeria. And for this reason, religious leaders are gathered in Jos, the Plateau State capital, first to examine the cause of the violence in the region and to know why religious sites, which ordinarily should be sacred, are usually the target. Religious leaders from Niger, Kaduna, Nasarawa and Plateau states, under the umbrella of a joint interfaith unbuilding consensus on the protection of holy sites and the Universal Code of Conduct, are here for a 2-day zonal meeting of the North Central Zone.
We cannot talk about protection of holy sites without addressing the drivers of violence that sent the youths to the holy sites. That's why you find that it involves so many other issues, because it's like trying to deal with something from the root. When you deal with the root, hopefully you are able to cause that particular tree to die. But if you just deal with the branches and the roots are still there, you continue to have the same problem.
And hate speech is one of those triggers of violence. It has been identified as a very, very potent, weapon whenever people want to initiate violence and things like that.
After a long weekend of deliberation, the leaders here resolved to embark on more enlightenment of their followers, give support to religious tolerance, and fish out those who have made it possible for violence to thrive.
We have also said that on drugs we are going to meet the low drug enforcement agency because they have a responsibility. The issue is that most of the drugs that youth are using today are not banned substances. So the issue is that how do we legislate? At what level? Is it at local government, state level, or do we need a federal law that can also include them substances that should be controlled so that you do not have access to them?
For both Christians and Muslims, peace in the region is a priority. But how then can this be achieved?
As part of the strategy, this North Central Zonal meeting has deliberated on the applicability of the Universal Code in the region. These include translating the Universal Code into easily understood local languages, conducting researches, promoting holy sites as centers for learning, recognizing vulnerable groups, e.g., gender, disability, etc., trauma healing and mindset transformation, mitigating against hate ideologies and derogatory speeches.
Hundreds of lives have been lost through crises such as the one in Jos and many other parts of the north. But rising from this conference, these leaders here appear to be in agreement that destabilizing forces in the region should be eliminated to allow for peace to reign.
The Nigerian Air Force is giving free medicare to thousands of internally displaced persons in different camps across the country. Some of the beneficiaries include those housed in the Wukani camp in Gwoza local government area of Borno State in northeast Nigeria.
There are over 50,000 internally displaced persons living in Gwoza local government. They are dealing with one ailment or the other, associated with poor hygiene or the living condition in the camps. The IDPs, mostly elderly people, are happy with the efforts of the Air Force, which supplements the overstretched resources of the MSF already operating in Gwoza.
We are grateful to them for their help, and we pray God continues to help them and grant them success in their work.
The intervention dealt with issues that had to do with eye-related problems, deworming of children, general checkup for nursing and pregnant mothers, as well as distribution of free mosquito nets. The director, Humanitarian Services of the Nigerian Air Force, Air Commodore Harold Onyechi, says the outreach program is continuous.
The main thing is that the things we can treat here, we treat. The things we cannot treat here, we note them and then decide where else we shall treat them.
At the completion of the first part of the intervention program in Gwoza, the team has discovered an urgent need for the treatment of elderly people with eye problems. But the Navy 105 Composite Group Medical Center is planning to arrange for surgery where necessary.
In the nearest future, we are going to deploy a team of ophthalmologists to come and assess this category of individuals for necessary surgical intervention, which we have conducted in the past among internally displaced persons camp in Dalori and Bakassi camps in Maiduguri. So within the shortest time possible, we are going to come back to Gwoza to identify those who need surgeries, and we'll gather them, convey them using our helicopters to Maiduguri and carry out the surgical operations.
Beneficiaries are grateful to the Nigerian Air Force and other agencies for giving them medical attention at no cost.
We're grateful to them for their help, and we pray God continues to help them and grant them success in their work.
They have given us mosquito nets, which I intend to use so that mosquitoes will not bite me and make me sick. I am grateful.
The Dalori IDP camp in Maiduguri and the camp in Bama already have hospitals established and run by the medical wing of the Air Force.
One news across Nigeria returns the Enugu Board of Internal Revenue seals up some banks for alleged tax evasion. That's in a moment. Do stay with us.